Hi, I'm James. I'm a service technician and I work at Warrington ADC and I'm in my third year of my apprenticeship.
Hi, I'm Ollie. I'm an engineering apprentice. I'm in my third year of my apprenticeship.
So it might sound obvious, but in the world of logistics, what do you think engineering is?
Well, for me, in our role, it's the use of technology and automation to improve the speed, reliability, and effective efficiency of the distribution centres.
Say engineering is being the modern day creator, modern day inventor, use a lot of science, maths, a lot of creativity as well. I enjoy it. Do you?
Yeah. Give us an overview of your career up to this point.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think probably a highlight is just being able to work by myself, doing a lot of being very confident as well. That's one thing that helps me.
Well, for me, an overview, it started just basically first couple of months just trying to learn the system, figuring out how various things communicate within the site, and then eventually we was allowed to do all the fun stuff. So when there's breakdowns, equipment fails, fixing it, being left on our own to actually fix it, that's pretty much it. So give us a snapshot of what your daily, weekly tasks are. So what do we do generally?
I mean, throughout the week, it's kind of just looking at the PM plan, doing a lot of cleaning, a lot of preventative maintenance.
What's PM? Yeah, PM.
Yeah.
Preventative maintenance.
Emergency breakdowns as well. Don't get really a lot of them, really, do we? Kind of just looking at what goes on in the week is just following a set of tasks, completing them out through the day. Obviously, our site is 24/7, so PMs will run till 6 till 6, 24/7. And we come in at 8 till 4 and just trying to fit in where we can fit in.
Yeah, we also spend a lot of time helping the ESOs on site. So they're not engineers, but they just deal with like general faults and errors in the system. So we spend a lot of time helping them as well.
Do you believe that engineering has any transferable skills?
Yes. So there's a few things that I think are transferable through engineering. So straight off the bat, problem solving when you come across an issue. Generally, it'll be a breakdown. You don't know what's gone wrong. Using problem solving when you come across issues that you've not seen before. There's hundreds of assets on our site. A lot of the stuff is similar, but some things you would never have seen before or never have been taught, and you have to use your brain. And I think that's transferable to a lot of professions.
I think one of the biggest professions as well is project management. I mean, in my circumstance, I can think of a lot of times where they've said, oh yeah, the boss used to be an engineer, or the boss used to do this job, the boss used to do this. So project management's big as well. I know architects as well take a lot of engineering skills. It's obviously very high paying as well. A lot of creativity is involved in that.
Another thing that I'd say would be time management. Often, depending on how valuable the asset is, how much product's running through it, you'll be under a lot of time pressure to make sure that when something's failed, you need to get it back up and running, or else they're going to start, product's not going to be able to leave the building. So that's essential.
Yeah, really good time management is so effective because when we don't get something completed, it doesn't get to the door. So Asda doesn't make their money. The engineering companies don't make their money either. So yeah, we are under a bit of time pressure. Not all the time, but yeah, it is there, definitely in the back of our minds, getting things done as quickly as possible to get product out the door.
What's something you do in your role people might be surprised by?
Probably cleaning. Yeah. A lot of people don't expect how much cleaning we have to do. It does get quite dirty in some places, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like, I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
100%.
It's like we've got like an outbound area where, if product isn't stacked correctly, it falls off. Yeah. And then we're having to fish round through all the things that's fallen off to whatever, find bits and bobs. But yeah, I think I'd say cleaning definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. A lot of stuff gets pretty dirty.
Yeah, before I started, I had no idea how much cleaning that we actually would have to do. It's probably half the job. A combination of the products and the greasy oils and lubricants that are used for the machinery. Just whenever you're working on something, always got to make sure it's clean. Right. What is the hardest challenge you've faced in your career to date? Do you want to go first?
Oh yeah, go on.
For me, it'd be more like a general thing, but it's like learning how to get information from electrical drawings and circuit diagrams. Initially, I found it quite difficult. I looked at it, I was like, I had no idea what I'm looking at here. But an engineer helped me out and studied it myself, went home, took a look at some of the drawings, and I feel like I'd be pretty confident now to pick out information.
I say for me, probably learning to be confident was a huge thing. To keep a long story short, we're not exactly near each other at all times. Sometimes you have to go off and you have to do it by yourself, and it might take 2 hours, it might take half an hour. But when we first started, absolutely zero confidence. I was always bungee corded to someone. We were always super glued to each other. Making sure that both of us were getting the same sort of information in. And now it's just, we get told to go off and do it, and then we come back and we do it.
What is a highlight you can tell us about from your career to date?
I wanted to be a first aider. I thought that could, do some good throughout the warehouse. And then, it has come in handy quite a few times. And I have been lucky enough to be able to help that person out. So I'd say that's probably a good highlight. And then probably as well is going from not being confident to being confident and doing things by myself and learning from it. That's a good highlight.
Yeah, well, for me, like one specific occasion would be, so generally we're paired with an engineer for most tasks. Obviously we're apprentices, so we're still learning. We don't get trusted to do a lot on our own. But recently we got trusted to change a whole belt on a conveyor system, just me and James. And it was meant to be a 4-hour job. We made a couple of mistakes, ended up being a 6-hour job. But by the end, when we put it back together, we welded the belt and it was running. And, it'd been running for longer than 10 minutes without failing. That was, I was pretty proud of that.
And may I add, it is actually still running as we speak right now. So.
Yeah. What are 3 key skills that have helped you to do your job?
Now, a lot of people say communication. I hear communication all the time when people say, they go into a job interview and they say, what skills you've got? I'm really good at talking to you, I'm really good at communication. But I like to think of it as effective communication because we work in such a massive place, that 9 times out of 10, the person, if you need a hand, that person is not standing right next to you. Yeah. They are 3 miles on the other side of the building, or they're not in. Yeah. So having to talk through a radio, which isn't always clear all the time, that is a good skill to have, is being able to get to the point using that type of communication. Yep. And not blabbering on the radio when everyone can hear you.
Yeah, and even just in terms of safety, like there's a lot of heavy equipment, stuff that could start when you're working. Just communicating with people, letting them know that you're locking stuff off and there's a reason why equipment is not on. Also, constant communication between the engineering team and the people that are running site to let them know this is what's happening, this is what we need to do. It's essential. I'd also say a key skill that's helped me to do my job would be adaptability. So there's, like I said before, there's hundreds of different assets on our site. You need to be able to approach a situation with an open mind and be able to think about things differently.
So if you had to start your career again, what advice would you give yourself?
I'd say to be more confident to ask questions, especially when I first started. I was reluctant. I didn't want to sound stupid or whatever else. But definitely, as I've progressed, I've became more confident. It would have been good if I've approached that straight away. I probably would have learned a lot more by now. Yeah,
I completely agree with that. I think when you first think about it, you're a little bit shy and you don't really want to kind of put yourself out there. But if I had to start again, I'd just put myself out there straight away and just get as much information as I can at any time in the day, really, to be honest. What do you see yourself doing in your career over the next few years?
For me, I want to keep on learning, really. So at the minute, I'm doing my level 3 apprenticeship. I want to progress to a level 4 and then possibly do a degree. But career-wise, just keep on learning and progressing.
I think for me, I'd like to, again, same, keep on learning, keep on progressing. I would like to see myself fully qualified and bringing on the next set of engineers and maybe giving them things that we weren't experienced to make their apprenticeship as the most enjoyable experience as possible.
How do you see engineering and the importance of engineering changing over the next few years?
I'd say automation is becoming a lot more popular in the coming years. So therefore, if there are more automated sites popping up, then there's going to be a need for engineers to be fixing these machines.
Yeah.
There's going to be never.
It's definitely the future.
Yeah, it's definitely never going to be a shortage of engineers. There's definitely not going to be a shortage of any automated sites or work. Yeah. There's always going to be a need for an engineer to fix these machines. So
yeah. And it's exciting. It's just the technology is just going to keep getting better and better and more complicated. And it's pretty exciting that we've actually had the chance to start a career in this.
I'd say we're also at the perfect time in it as well. We've started as, automation's been there for a few years, but, it's getting more common. And as we're getting older, we're growing into it.
Yeah.
So, the future is looking very, very bright because realistically, these engineering companies, they're going to be wanting young, aspiring engineers. And hopefully that's what me and Ollie can do. We can bring up that next set of engineers to be able to do that.
How are you finding the apprenticeship route?
I'd say for engineering, I would say an apprenticeship is the must-do thing for anyone who wants to be an engineer or do anything in engineering. You get the...
Especially if you're working with your hands.
Especially, yeah, if you are definitely someone that, they do like the theory side and, you also like you getting your hands dirty. I say that's definitely like one of the best things to do. I say I enjoy it because you get the best of going to work like a usual day job. You're getting paid for it, but also I like to think of it as well as you're getting paid to learn. We go away to college and we're on the books, writing things down, on the computers. And then once we finish that, we then take what we've learned in the classroom, we then apply it to our everyday job, and we're getting paid for it. I'd say an apprenticeship definitely is the way forward to be for any engineering. Mm-hmm. Why did you choose this?
Well, after high school, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. There was some college courses that just didn't really pique my interest. And I thought I just wanted to get working. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, and I just happened to get into engineering. It was something I was relatively interested in. I like understanding how things work and everything like that. And once I actually did it, it just helped me develop so many different skills, how to, present myself properly, just put me on the right path. That's what I'd say.